I could care less about their well-being. I care about the kids. I don't want to have such a high turnover that it affects the kids. And it ultimately affects morale. It affects the BCBAs. It affects the programming. There's such a much greater risk in that than having to fight a big entity who's just, trying to act like they're the good guy, but they're really just there to protect their bottom line.
Hi, my name's Steven.
Hi, I'm April.
This is the 3 Pi Squared ABA Business Leaders Podcast, where we discuss topics on how to create and grow an ethical and sustainable ABA practice.
Together, Steven and I owned a 7-figure ABA practice that provided both clinic and in-home services.
3 Pi Squared has helped over 900 ABA practices start up and expand with our comprehensive products and services geared specifically to ABA. Now, let's get to the podcast.
Welcome to ABA Business Leaders Podcast, brought to you by 3 Pi Squared. I'm April, and Steven is not here today, but we do have with us our amazing business owner panel. We have a couple of new faces or voices to our panel, but they are not new to our podcast. So we're super excited to welcome Chris and Alecia to our OG panel group. And to those OG members, welcome back. And out of pure realness and transparency, guys, we were already recording this amazing panel discussion. And 20 minutes, 30, I don't know how far we were into it. I realized I didn't press record. So we are trying again. It's just one of those days, right? What is that saying? You just have to, if you fall off the bike or fall off the horse, you just have to get right back on. So here we go. So welcome, panelists. Why don't we start by you each giving us or introducing yourselves.
So I'm Robin Stone. I'm located in the Atlanta area. We do in-home services, center-based services, and in-school facilitation and ABA. And I've been in business for 20 years now, celebrating 20 years this week, actually. So it's been a great ride so far.
I'm Jennifer Helson. I own a business in North Texas. We provide ABA and speech services to children from 2 to 22. We're celebrating 10 years this year in the field.
I think I'm supposed to go next. I can't remember the order. I'm Mallory Singer. I'm based out of Washington, Montana. I no longer am technically a business owner in Washington. We do live in Montana, and I'm still very active in the fields.
I'll go next. I'm Alecia Barrett. I'm owner of an ABA company in Ohio. We provide in-home, and we just expanded to add clinic. We've had the clinic for 3 months now, so very, very new. And we still provide in-home services as well as contracts from schools.
Chris Robinson, and I own an in-home ABA agency. We've been open for 6 years, and we focus on comprehensive intervention with language focused for early learners.
All right. So let's get right to it. Today's topic is Would You Rather? So we had a lot of feedback from our listeners from our previous Would You Rather game that we played with our business owner panel. And so we're bringing it back to you with a few new voices included. So let's just get started. So we'll start with a kind of a fun, lighthearted, if you will, question. Would you rather run a clinic on a beach with spotty Wi-Fi or in a basement with excellent internet?
Beach. I love the beach. It'd be the beach. And I think earlier, before we weren't recorded, it was pointed out that we don't have, I don't rely a lot on internet either. We do pen and paper, and and just like I said, I live in a metropolitan and I still have, crappy Wi-Fi. So I'd rather be on a beach and enjoy that than have to be here.
That was the same for me. I said beach, and Wi-Fi didn't really matter to me because, we did pen and paper. So internet was only needed certain periods of time. So I could go back to the resort, right? If I was on the beach, I could go to the resort and use the Wi-Fi if I needed to.
I'd definitely say beach. Over the years, I've actually have gone on family beach vacations and sat on the balcony and written reports and done insurance, medical reviews and things like that, just for fun. I remember even one time I was at Disney and I had to, stand off in the corner and do a medical review for a client. So I'm all about being, mobile when possible. But if we had shoddy Wi-Fi, I would definitely hire somebody to fix the IT to make the Wi-Fi better. Get some nice little access points to increase the coverage there, and then enjoy my beach time. So.
I'm a mountain person and not a beach person, but I have a camper van and with spotty Wi-Fi, and I've been known to travel and have some very grainy Zoom meetings while on the road.
I also camp, but I do like the beach, so I would say beach with spotty Wi-Fi. Why not have fun on the beach in the sand and play while also doing what we do, right? We don't need Wi-Fi in order to be effective clinicians. So, in my opinion, so yeah, I would definitely choose the beach.
Yeah.
Excellent. Also, beach lover here, would totally choose the beach. Although I did have a conversation with a friend the other day where we're like, do we really want to be taking our laptops to the beach? Are we kidding ourselves? All right, on to the next question. Would you rather have complete control but work 70 hours a week, or delegate 90% and risk occasional chaos?
I'm all for occasional chaos. Some free time too. So I would definitely, I would say when I started out, I definitely took on all the roles. I wore all the hats. I've been doing this a long time. So I was stubborn for many years, trying to do scheduling, hiring, doing the HR stuff, credentialing, the billing, all the things. And, had 2 kids, and it was just a bit much. And I was working all hours, weekends, all the things. And, things were obviously falling down by the wayside just because that's how life is. And when you have too many things on your plate, you can easily screw up. So I realized I had to, I had people in my life that were pushing me and pulling me, saying, you really need to hire an admin. I was like, no, I can't afford it. I don't want to do it. And I realized that, starting out and hiring someone hourly and kind of starting out with what I felt comfortable with financially, whether it's 10 or 15 hours a week, and then I build them up. But over time, I had like 5 admins now that do what I used to do myself. So it kind of was eye-opening just to realize how much work there was, and, things that I would miss, but also like just how much of a job it was, running the company and doing all the administrative tasks. And it's nice to have a little bit of free time every now and then too. So definitely, if we train the people well and train the staff well, there will still be errors occasionally, but, I'm okay with occasional human errors and, having a little bit more of a life. So that helps.
I said the same thing, that at the beginning, I definitely had signed up for, not necessarily knowingly, but the 70 hours a week. And then, eventually at about year 5, actually for me, I was like, okay, this is not that I worked 70 hours a week that whole time, but towards year 5, I was like, I have to get more help. I can't sustain this anymore. And so the occasional chaos, yeah, for sure. And then just, pick your people wisely, because that definitely helps so much take the load off.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running an ABA agency, I think the goal is just limit your chaos to occasional chaos.
Agreed.
How is that accomplished?
by any means necessary, by working 7 hours or by delegating. Minimal chaos is always the goal. But not working 70 hours a week would be great too. Right. My experience was when I started up, I was wearing all the hats. I was doing all the interviewing and all the documentation for record keeping for state reviews, and I was clinical director. I was onboarding clients and taking all the phone calls. My cell phone was the company number. And that led to constant chaos because things are falling through the cracks. And then I delegated to the wrong people. And then there was constant chaos. And now I've got a great team, and there is occasional chaos. And I can tell you that is very much preferable.
Yeah, I'm right there with everyone. I am in my early stages, right? So I'm wearing all the hats, working lots of hours. I would definitely prefer to delegate and have an occasional chaos. Chaos is going to happen no matter what. Like, we're working with kids, we're working with families, right? There's going to be things that happen. So chaos is okay. You live with it, you work with it, you adjust to it. But definitely working long hours, doing things at midnight and like on the weekends, those administrative tasks that you don't have to be in contact with people that are awake. Those are the times that, you find doing those tasks. So yeah, I would love to, this resonated with me. This question resonated with me a lot. I would definitely like to get to that point of delegation, but there's also costs that come along with that. So it's always a balancing act, right? Figuring out when to pull that trigger to hire that person to delegate to. So that's also the balance too for me.
I was laughing last week because I had, over the last 2 weeks, I had 2 different former clients that I've worked with like many years ago. One was from I think we in services like 2017, and one was from their daughter's now graduating high school, so a very long time ago. And I was laughing because they both contacted my personal cell phone, and I was like, it just made me laugh because I was giving the information to my admin staff to give her a call back, and it was just funny because I was like, I would never give a client my personal cell phone number anymore because, yes, they called me at weird hours of the day when they called and I didn't answer. So it's just kind of nice to have the boundaries and have some, separation there for your own personal time. But I just was laughing last week. They were like, how'd they get your cell phone? I was like, they were a client before I hired admin. So it was
I thankfully created a business number right off the bat because I was like, I know if I don't create that boundary for myself, I am going to lose any kind of like balance in my life. And I have 2 young kids. So like I had to at least have that as a barrier, even though it connects to my personal cell phone, right? But it is a different number. So I can see where the call is coming from.
That is smart. If anyone is listening and you are using your cell phone, get a virtual business number now. Planning on opening a business and using your cell phone, trust me, get a virtual number now because those brochures that you were printing will be out there forever.
Yeah. I would also say too, like I always tell my staff, and prior to having my own business, I was in supervisor roles, right? So I always tell my staff, like, you have to create boundaries for yourself. You're not on call, so don't make yourself available to be on call, which is one of the reasons why I knew right off the bat that I needed to have a separate number for my company, because I know, like, if someone calls me at 8:00, like I'm going to have an awful feeling of not answering that call. Right. So I got to be able to determine where the call is coming from. So a
lot of the virtual lines, you can like set up the end of the workday kind of time frame so that you're not available and it doesn't, come to you at late at night. I mean, I used to have clients call me 5, 6 in the morning, like, cause they're, whatever. The kid woke up on the wrong side of the bed and they felt like they needed to talk to me about it. And like 9:30, 10 at night, So it's nice to have those boundaries just for your own sanity.
Yes, absolutely.
I would definitely go with the 90%. I think when you're a business owner, we all do start off with doing everything. Alecia, I remember being where people are like, you need to get an admin. And in my head, I'm like, I cannot even fathom where I'm going to get that money, But the thing that you have to remember is even if they're not revenue they're not a team member that's generating revenue, they are generating revenue. in ways that you just don't see it, because they're taking something off your plate and maybe making it better and helping you move forward quicker. But that is really hard to make that leap, because you can sit there and talk yourself out of it so easily. But like Robin said, and this is how I started too, it's like, don't go in there with the mindset of thinking, oh, I have to hire a 40-hour admin person at an $80,000 salary. Go in there, because there's a lot of people who are willing to do admin from home and just delegate, and just, even if it's 5 hours a week, that's 5 hours you get back that you can focus on something else that has been continuing to fall on the wayside, because in the beginning, everything's important. Everything's urgent. And, learning that matrix of what's really needs my time versus what can I delegate. I'll take the 10% chaos, or human error. Like, everybody errors.
Right.
It's what's the intent of the error? Oh, they were tired or they forgot. Okay, that's fine. It wasn't malicious. Okay, well, let's fix it and move on. But I remember that. I'm so thankful I'm not, because I'm with Robin. I'm like, I have a scheduling coordinator now. I have all that stuff I used to do. And I'm like, I can't believe I did all of that by myself at one point. And I can honestly tell you, I was doing it okay. I wasn't doing it well, because I wasn't able to focus on that 100%. Now, I enjoy the fact that I can jump in what I used to love to do. I loved talking to parents. I love the intake process. I love building those relationships. So that's fun for me to be able to go back into that because I want to, not because I have to. So that makes a big difference. So yes, all day, every day, 90-10.
Well, we're all proof, Alecia. We're all proof that you will get past the first, the early stages. You will, and maybe you'll get through it faster than we did, because you have this support group that can be like, "Girl, don't burn yourself out," for sure. But I will say, on the other note, though, that had I not done some of that at the beginning, I didn't know what I needed. Right. I think there's certain things that I was like, no, this actually brings me joy. I want to do this part of the job, or I want to wear that hat. And so, if I hadn't gone through that, even in the first year or 2 years, then I wouldn't have known what I really wanted. And I think, Jennifer, you said before that it's okay for people to do things the way that they feel is best. It may not be the way I want. I would have done it, and that's okay, because that was also part of the learning process for me, right? It was like giving up that control and being like, okay, it really doesn't matter. We all have the same goal. And oftentimes I realized that actually their way was a little bit better than mine, right? Because I was wearing so many hats, I couldn't actually perform the task as quickly and strategically and efficiently, because I had so many other things going on, right? So it was like, okay, I just maybe didn't have a streamlined process. So it was good, though, that I had done some of those things, because when I was ready to hire extra support, I could say, hey, this is what I really need help with. So that was good. But we're all living proof. You'll get through it.
Yes.
I have faith. I'm not concerned. It's just a matter of timing, right? Of when the right time is. And I think that timeline is different for everyone. And I'm definitely feeling the crunch right now, but I also can reflect and know that I'm feeling the crunch because I just added a clinic, right? So, so there's that component. And then I'm a big dreamer, so I'm also thinking about other things. So I'm like, I gotta refocus myself sometimes. And definitely right now, because I am wearing all the hats, I couldn't answer a question of what could you delegate to someone if you were to hire someone, right? What would those tasks be? Because I don't know yet, right? Because I haven't really had time to reflect on that. So that's something else too, is part of the pieces and puzzles. But over time, everyone figures it out. So
and that's what I was going to recommend. What I did is I hired too quickly, and I didn't know what I needed them to do. And I thought, oh, well, you have this experience. You should just be able to walk into this position and just take over. I shouldn't have to tell you anything. It ended up not being. I can't blame it on that person 100% for leaving, because I completely failed in the sense of I didn't even know what I needed them to do. And so when I decided that I was going to do an admin, I stepped into the admin role for an entire year. I did the office management. I did everything because I had a clinical director. So I didn't have to worry about anything clinical. And then I started thinking, okay, now I know what this role really looks like and what it entails. Now I know what I want to train for. Now I know what I'm going to need from this person. But if you're running clinical and HR, and like we all have, it's hard to silo out what you need for each position in that company. But we've all started this because we want to help kids, right? We want to do. We've been in the industry. We can do ABA. But running a business is a whole different thing. And I'm sorry, you can do ABA and business all you want, but at the end of the day, you can't just OBM things into your business all the time. I'm sorry, I just don't agree with it. This is a human industry. It's a human service. So you have to know what it is first that you need to even have somebody else take over for you.
Absolutely.
So like kind of how I did it was like, you can look at all the hats that you're wearing, even though you're not quite sure what you're doing, but just look at your work week and then kind of write down the things that you're doing, write down the tasks, and then figure out. So like the list of tasks, the things that you wish you could get done that you haven't done, the things that would make it more organized, kind of even almost come up with like a job description where it lists out like, okay, this is what the scheduler could do for me, because this is all the things I do when I'm scheduling. This is what the intake coordinator and, insurance, liaison, whatever, like. And then you can expand the admin's job over time as they get more experience, or as you are making enough to have them do more things, and then kind of expand it slowly. So I think I started with having her help me with like intake stuff and answering phone calls and coordinating with the insurance companies when we had, issues, and coordinating with the billing company, she helped with credentialing, so just kind of starting out where you think you need the most help, and then it can change over time. I would say the scheduler was the position of all of them that I had the most turnover, because it's such a frustrating job. And so it like always changes because you deal with turnover from staff, you deal with all the ins and outs of like the day to day, and we have so many sessions within a week for the staff, and they live in different areas, and they want their own like geographic area, and they're not going to want to drive too far. So it's like, you have to take all these things into consideration. And then like half the time it's the staff that are frustrating the scheduler, just trying to get them to line things up for a client. And then the RBT changes their availability, or they decide whatever. But block scheduling did help with that. Once we started doing that, it made the scheduler stay for much longer. So it's kind of, one of those things that helps, but you'll figure it out. But I definitely say start out small and figure out where you think, what the roles are what the hats are that you do, and kind of build it from there.
I definitely agree. I work with a lot of, coaching a lot of new business owners, but also business owners who find themselves 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in and realizing that they're still wearing all the hats, right? And at that point, they're like, I can't let go of any of it. Like they're just holding on to all those things so tight, but yet they can't sustain it, right? And that's one of the first things that I say is, okay, just start jotting down all of your jobs first, like being more intentional, right? Of like, what are you even doing? And then from that, building out like your task analysis, your steps to it, how do you do it? And you don't have to have like a perfect step-by-step manual in a couple of days. Like it's going to take months, especially if you're already well into your business. It's going to take months to figure these things out. So if you can start when you're starting your business, like how amazing, what a gift that is to yourself to keep track of that from the beginning. And things are going to change and you're going to shift but as long as you continue keeping up with those updates and tracking them and getting what's in your brain out onto paper or onto a document, then that is going to help relieve that mental load for when it is time, when you do have those finances available. Then you're like, okay, I already know like this one, and this one gone. But in here, I already have a step of how to get started. And then having them updated as they change the processes so that then if they go, you have someone else can hop in, right? So definitely great advice, Robin.
Hey, April. You remember that time we forgot to do benefit checks and that client switched insurance companies?
Ugh, yes. We lost like $20,000. That was brutal. I don't want to talk about it.
Honestly, that was one of the most frustrating parts of running a practice. Just trying to keep up with benefit checks, co-pays, prior authorizations. It was a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. And if you miss even one detail, it can cost you thousands.
What if I told you that somebody can handle all of that for you? Run benefit checks, track eligibility, manage prior authorizations, so you could confidently bill and stop wasting your time in payer portals.
I would say, please sign me up now. And where were you 10 years ago?
Yes. That's exactly what Silna does. Their platform automates your entire upfront insurance workflow. A benefits check done in under 30 seconds. TRICARE prior auth under 3 minutes. That's hours of admin work saved every single week.
Silna is already working in 48 states, supporting over 50,000 patients, and they're rated #1 for prior auths on G2. If you're ready to stop chasing paperwork and get time back to focus on your staff and clients, go to silnahealth.com or click the link in our show notes.
Be sure to mention 3Pi to get an extended free pilot and special pricing just for our listeners.
Let's go ahead and move on to our next question. I think we will all have a lot to say about this one as well. Would you rather experience rapid growth with high risk or slow, steady growth with fewer rewards?
I think slow and steady was kind of how I did things. I kind of did it hiring one person at a time, and started by myself initially, and then slowly hired behavior technicians, and then eventually BCBAs. And so kind of building slow, and then I'd have like a little mini wait list, and then market more when I need more clients and for the staff to be full. And I mean, it definitely helped out over time to kind of do it slower. I mean, I think it'd be awesome to have it just grow really fast, but that's not my story. So I don't have experience with that directly. But my company's grown and shrunk, back and forth over the years. I think it's on the smaller side now than it was at one point, but pre-COVID, but, it's definitely, still there. So
I think in general, right, all of us, we took the risk, right? I mean, opening your own agency, doing all of this. I mean, that's the risky part, I guess. Yeah, the growth for me, I definitely did slow. I didn't ever keep a wait list. It was literally first come, first serve. And I would tell families that call back every day if you need to. Whenever I have an opening, I will plug you in. But I didn't have the capacity. That was one thing that I did that was really good at the beginning, is I did not have the capacity to manage a wait list. I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that. And so I didn't. It was the slow growth. I don't know that I could handle that amount of pressure. Yes, the risk was already there because I stepped out and said, I'm going to open up this agency. I don't know what exactly that means, what it's going to look like. But I think that growing super fast without, and just that amount of stress and chaos, I don't think I could do that. So the slow growth.
Kind of like a cop-out answer here, but in my experience, going back to working 70 hours in the first year or two that we opened grew pretty quickly because you're not paying an HR and a clinical director and all those other roles. So you're able to reinvest in the business and grow pretty quickly. So my experience, we grew pretty quickly in those first couple of years up to 30 staff. And then it's okay, this is too much. We need to slow down. And quality is really important to me. So I knew that there was a point where we would be too big and I couldn't handle it. So then intentionally slowing down and catching up your support team, your admin team, to support that growth. And then we grew very slowly. And right now we're up to 50 staff and we've got a great admin team, but there's risks in growing slowly too, because if you grow too slowly, you might have a couple unexpected discharges or a couple unexpected staff leaving and you don't have any interviews scheduled, and then you end up growing backwards, which isn't good. So there's risks depending on where you are in a business. And I don't advocate just go out and start a giant agency. But there's risks in growing slow as well, depending on where you are in your business.
I think that we started off slow because I didn't know what the hell we were doing. And Chris, to your point, like, we are so on the quality side of things that sometimes that can slow down growth if you get stuck in trying to perfect everything. And I found I feel like at this stage of the game, I've done it all. We've done slow, we've done fast, we've had to go backwards because, we lost some staff, and then it's like, why did we lose staff? Well, we got stagnant. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're always in a state of risk. We are in a state of really quick growth right now, and I'm pushing that. And I'm pushing it because we're to a point now that we have not perfected anything, don't get me wrong, but we are to a point where my team is ready for that fast pace. As we grow to where I want us to be, we're going to level out. We're going to level out. We're all going to sit there and we're all going to be, okay, let's take a breath. Here we go. We're going to, and then we're going to, and then as we're doing it, we're plugging in holes. What happened here? You grow too slow, you don't always see everything that's wrong. You grow too fast, then all of a sudden you've got 10 things that you didn't even know were a problem, or you've created these problems, right? So the thing is we always keep the quality on the front burner. It's always got to be about quality first, but we have to also come together to realize that quality shouldn't slow you down. You can't sit here and not grow for a year because you're worried about quality. You have to come together as a team and say, okay, I want quality and I want everybody's opinion on how we can maintain that quality, but we got to keep moving, because if we don't keep moving, we're going to die. You're going to die. I mean, like we hire people for growth. We hire people because we want this company to grow. We want to expand. We want to be able to help as many kids as we can help. But if you don't continue to grow, that your mission isn't going to be fulfilled, because you're going to lose clients, you're going to lose staffing, and then you're just always trying to catch up. And we've done that too, where it's like we thought we were moving ahead and then bam, something hits us and all of a sudden we're just trying to get back to where we were. And it's like, well, how the heck did this happen? So I don't know. I think I know this is a would you rather, so it's like a if or towards, if whatever, but I'm kind of like, I kind of feel like there's times I want to be slow and steady, and there's times I want to be, my staff telling me, Jenny, let your foot off the accelerator. I'm like, no, we got to go. So I think some of that comes with the longer you're running a business, the more the wisdom comes in of when is it time to slow down and when is it time to just hold on for the ride, but prepare for that. Be prepared for when it is time to, and have that team and that infrastructure in place. I know Stephen and April talk a lot about always making sure you have your handbooks, your policies, your procedures, because that's what your staff is going to have to fall back on. If you're the one leading the charge to move forward, you're going to lean on your leadership team to continue the mission and making sure everything's still quality based.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, that really resonates with me. And trying to hit the gas again is exactly where my agency is right now.
Yeah, because we're at 33 staff members, and we've found another location. We're growing. I'm anticipating we're going to be between 50 to 60 by the end of the year. So we're growing, but my other thing is I'm still plugging holes. Okay, this is a hole. Let's get this plugged. What do we need to do for it? Because your problems it's not that your problems change, it just get bigger. Because more people, more problems, just life. Everybody's got a life. Everybody's got things going on, so yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I would have to say for me, of course, I started off, I'm like, I'm going to go slow. I'm going to be really focused. I'm going to, do all this. And then credentialing took way longer than it should have. And families knew I was coming, because I already had clients that followed me from my previous location, not because I asked them. I want to be very clear here. No, they didn't know exactly what I was doing, but then they found me, right? So, they were waiting for me to be credentialed and to start services. And so once credentialing was clear, I was like, okay, here we go. And we literally went from just me to adding 3 RBTs, and then kind of stayed there for a little while, and then slowly added in. Now we're at 10 staff, and I'm adding this month 2 more staff. So like I've been kind of like bouncing back and forth between that. My mindset is we're going to go slow. We're going to be steady. We're going to be productive, and we're going to be like focused in our things. But then there's also like this, family needs increased services. Other families are reaching out, and like, I don't want to turn people away. So let me get a staff. Like, so it's like, okay, those kind of constant adjustments. And so I'm really excited for this. Like, I feel like we have our foot on the pedal, the accelerator right now. I still don't want to go too crazy fast, because in my area, a lot of people are, like if I hire a behavior tech, they don't have any experience. So then there's lots of training that needs to come into play. So that kind of alters the process, right? That's kind of where we're at.
And if you're not building the team, for a while there, I would always build it on the sense of, if they leave, would this be replaceable? Would this be? And now it's more of I don't anticipate them leading. I'm literally building this around my team, because I've listened to what my team wants and I'm a dreamer too. I think most business owners are the dreamers, right? We're the visionaries. Now you have to surround yourself with a team who shares that vision, but are the executors. And trusting that and being on board with the same mission, because I've had a couple of team members come to me in this last year asking about, they were presented with another position, and we sat and talked, and we found a better position for the company, for them in the company that met where their strengths were. And now they're thriving. But the good thing is we built that relationship, and we have that relationship together, that they were willing to come to me to talk to me first before just saying, I've got a better job offer. Here it is, and I think that's important. That's part of what helps that growth, is you have those honest, hard conversations.
Yeah.
You're rooting for everybody, regardless of what they decide to do. But,
right.
But the quality that, Chris, I think about that too, is like, I want to be I don't want to be large. I don't want to be the biggest. That's not my goal, but I want to be able to serve in communities that are not being served as well. So that means that's growth, right? And I always think, how am I going to continue to maintain that quality? Well, that's maintained by my team. And I also think about Chick-fil-A. I mean, if you go to Chick-fil-A, they are the most polite people. I mean, they are trained so well to be well-mannered and very polite and very professional. And I'm like, well, if they can do it, then it's the training. It's the training. And that's where it comes. Now, we're not always going to get it right. You're not always going to have the correct hire. That's okay. What did you learn from it? Move on. But training has become such a fundamental thing in the company. And it kind of goes to one of those, would you rather, and I don't know if we're going to get to it, but, it's a necessary investment that will yield you long-term results, but up front it can be very expensive.
Wow, great lead into the next question then. So the next question, would you rather make payroll with just $1,000 to spare every month, or have a cushion but feel like you're not growing? And I have a feeling that there are people out there that are like, wow, you had $1,000 left over for payroll?
For option 2. I think starting out, I definitely had, I worked, at different times, like because of how long it would take to get paid. I would sometimes be in the red, but like, I would rather there be a cushion that I could save up over time and then use that cushion to help grow the company or hire an additional staff or admin or BCBA down the line, and just grow slower, and kind of move at my own pace that way. Whereas if it's like $1,000, and $1,000 isn't enough to like give you enough cushion that like if you had a delay in a payment from an insurance company for 3 months, it's not going to help you out. You're going to be royally screwed. And it happens. People have to take out loans. It's like a whole thing. So you need a lot more than $1,000 cushion to be able to sustain the business and not go in the hole every month, and be able to pay your staff. Because, if you're only $1,000 off, if you're, the following month or the following payroll period, you can be in the hole and not have enough money to pay people. And I've known smaller companies in the area that started out, like I had a BCBA that started her own company that used to work for me. And she wasn't able to pay her staff like for months because she'd be waiting to get paid by the insurance company. And then all of her staff are like, getting mad because she wasn't able to pay them. And I can empathize with that. But as a business owner, you also have to have, the wherewithal to know that you have to be able to pay your people. And so that has to be like a top priority for you. And even if you have to take a hit every once in a while, but you want to have enough of a buffer that you can sustain the business over time and not go in the hole or risk going in a hole and not paying payroll one time. So, but you'll lose staff fast if they don't get paid.
Which I think that that also kind of speaks because I've known a lot of agencies where they only bill once a month or maybe every 2 weeks. We at my agency, we billed once a week. So we constantly had money coming in. And that was really important to me. And guess what? I never was even close to missing payroll, right? But that was also because I also put my own stuff on the back burner, right? Like I wanted to make sure my staff were always taken care of. And we always had a nest egg towards the end of the year. And my husband actually kind of used to make fun of me, like, don't have to be so like frugal all the time with everything, but at the end of the day, right, I could lay my head down on my pillow every night and know that if anything happened, right, any insurance company did me dirty, which believe me, they did me dirty a couple times, right? I didn't have to worry about whether I was going to be able to pay my staff and maintain my staff. I was just talking to a business owner, or not even a business owner, another BCBA the other day. And I talked to Stephen in April about it, just not getting paid for 2.5 months, just didn't get paid. I don't know how that can even be a thought in a business owner's mind, right? Like, oh, I'm just not going to pay them. Most people in this country, right, live paycheck to paycheck. Not a lot of people have a lot of, reserve. And so, yes, I will do anything to make sure that I had well above what I needed to. So, yeah, even $1,000, like you said, Robin, that's not even going to pay your taxes, right? I mean, for payroll. So you depending of course on your size of your team, but, the financial part of it definitely it can be a little bit daunting, but make payroll. Yeah. That's the goal. Always make payroll.
Absolutely. This resonated to me as well, not because of the $1,000. I have never been that close. I will never get that close because that would stress me out way, way too much. Like when my bank account gets down, I won't share the number, but when it gets down to a certain number, I start freaking out, right? So like, I don't want it going that low. And like that, to kind of piggyback up on you, Mallory, like it is utmost importance that staff is taken care of. I'm not only in this to have good quality services to individuals that we serve, the clients, right? But also to have a good, healthy working environment that we have wonderful relationships in. And you can't have that if they're stressed out about not getting paid, right? I actually hired someone because they came from a place that didn't pay them. Well, not that wasn't the reason I hired them, but that's why they were looking for another job, right? So I will do anything and everything to make sure that I have enough money to support the team that I have. And at the end of the day, yes, there's times that my bank account gets lower than my comfort level and I stress out, which is, kind of, I'm living that in the moment right now. So yeah, I would definitely, go with the having that cushion, but feeling like you're not growing. But also knowing that there's a balance there, right? That you have to grow a little bit in order to make more of a cushion. So there's also that balance, having enough of that nest egg to hire a new staff and train them well so that they stay and so that they can create revenue for you, right?
Yeah, neither of those are good options. It's like, would you rather be seen like awesome?
I was thinking, not answer this one.
Totally.
I would rather not either one of them.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you for playing along and not very difficult question. Next. All right. So here's another that might, this might perk a little bit of passion. I don't know. Maybe not the kind of passion that we like to see. But would you rather fight insurance battles every week or deal with constant staff turnover? I know it's another neither.
Right. And unfortunately, that is your reality. I saw that and I thought about that for a long time because I'm gonna do it, Robinson. I'm gonna pay somebody to fight the insurance battles for me. No, I would so much rather fight insurance than have to deal with consistent turnover. And the turnover for me, it's what is that doing to the kids with that kind of turnover, and you're already asking our kids to have to realign or readjust to new staff members to begin with, or just new people every day, even if they do know them, because different expectations and stuff. And so I look at that from the standpoint of, I want to protect the kids and the integrity of the program. The insurance battles, that's what I've signed up for. And at the end of the day, if they know I'm not going away, I'll win the battle. I just need to be prepared for it. It kind of goes back into that cushion. You may have delays for 3-6 months because they're doing their little reindeer games they like to play. But at the end of it, I'm going to get what they promised, what we contractually agreed to, but I can't. And to me, I could care less about their well-being. I care about the kids. And I don't want the staff. I don't want my staff to be I don't want to have such a high turnover that it affects the kids. And it ultimately affects morale. It affects the BCBAs. It affects the programming. There's such a much greater risk in that than having to fight a big entity who's just, trying to act like they're the good guy, but they're really just there to protect their bottom line.
I definitely agree. As much as I hate battling with insurance companies, as it's not a fun job, but I feel like it's lesser of the two evils, right? Like I don't want to have to constantly, staff turnover is really hard. And I think those of us who had companies during COVID, specifically right after COVID, and we were trying to kind of rebuild, the staffing turnover, while it's not as bad as it was then, I felt like it was even, it was really, really bad for a while. And so I hated having to communicate to the other staff and to families like, hey, we're having to bring another tech in. And also I felt like the staff turnover was hard too, because the good staff that were there, right, were picking up all the pieces several times over and over, and they can only do that so many times. And they're like, okay, this is too much. Right. So then you're not even just learning, losing just general staff. It's like, okay, now we're going to start losing our really good staff that we want to keep around, that, would really have stayed with us forever. But circumstances have asked us to, hey, can you do a little bit more? Or can you cover this for a little bit while we get this other tech trained? So I would definitely fight with insurance companies. Take those reference numbers down and call 5 times a day, stay on hold for 2 hours. I would rather, I can multitask with them on hold, right? So
worst case, I'll listen to Netflix. I'll watch Netflix and be on hold. I'm having a really bad day. I'll binge a show and sit on hold. Yeah.
You want to hire
staff turnover is hard. Yeah, good.
Yeah, you want to hire good staff and pay them well and keep them. And in order to pay them well, you need to make sure you're getting what you owed from insurance. And we deal with commercial insurance plans. We only take commercial plans. So we are fighting insurance battles every single week. Yeah. And it is important to know what the rules are, what the client's rights are, because insurances, especially now, they are cutting back. And it's hard to get a real person, and you'll call one day and they'll tell you one thing, and then you'll call the next day and they'll tell you something different, and you call the next day and they'll tell you a third thing. So we getting clients that insurance will cover is a barrier for us, because not every state has the same mandates, and insurances, if you've got a parent that, lives near you, and works there, but they're headquartered somewhere else, and they have a different insurance mandate, then they might not cover the same services, and navigating that, it's a hassle. But, we have people that, in our billing department, it's important to keep, I've found that at one point we were kind of disconnected. Mm-hmm. And everyone was kind of too much in their own silo. So, brought my billing people into some of our clinical meetings so they can hear what we're working on and connect the work that they do, to the outcomes and the difference that our clinicians make. And they know that without the billing team, our kiddos would not be making the progress that they're making. So they're fighters. They do not accept no.
Mm-hmm. Chris, that's so funny because that's one of the first things I did a training with my BCBAs on the billing side of it, and I kind of segmented the insurance companies into three, sort of topics. I put in the benefits package, and then your billing, and then your clinical, your, who you're doing your peer reviews. And I put little icons with all of them. And the billing, I put at the back of a donkey's butt, and I put for the BCBAs a brain, because, that's your academia for your, your author. And then, of course, the insurance and their big heart. These are our benefits. We're awesome. And I told him, I said, listen, none of these departments talk to each other. They don't. None of them talk to each other. So whatever you're being told in a clinical review does not necessarily translate into what's going to happen into billing, mm-hmm. and vice versa. So it's I think the hard thing, it's by design for everybody to be confused. And like you said, you can talk to one person and they're like, oh, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. And then they give you another person, and then you've got this, and you're just just escalate this to a manager, because I'm sick and tired of dealing with this, and you're just giving me the runaround. But I think it's important to bring your BCBAs, your clinical team, in on that, because they are not dealing with that side of it. And billing needs to be as understanding as the clinical team needs to be to billing, because we're all trying to work in this confine that the insurance has put us in, right? Mm-hmm. If you've done this long enough before insurance, we didn't used to have to deal with this, right? We weren't told what we could and could not put in a treatment plan. We put what was in there because that's what the kids needed. Now it's, they're 7, they should be doing that in school. So you got to rewrite that goal, or we're not going to approve it because of this, and then that ultimately affects your billing, because then, you want to recommend 30 hours for this child because they need it, but now they're saying, nope, it's 25. So it's just, it's such a, I still would take that over a high turnover, though. That being said, I would still take that over high turnover.
We kind of like the fight. We're a little bit oppositional when it comes to
right?
This, and knowing that clients are entitled to this.
Right. Exactly.
And they're going to get it.
Yes. That is exactly. I'm you will not sit here and tell me that this child does not deserve this. This is not, I'm sorry. That's just not how that's going to work. And I'm going to keep you contractually bound like you keep me contractually bound. And we're going to fight for every penny. Mm-hmm. It's just, you got to be ready for that game. You just got to be ready for that game.
I think I have told, a couple insurance companies are well, you've met your match. So do you want me to call back? Yeah. I will gladly hang up, and I will call back, and I'll talk to somebody different, and I will get it in writing. That's the other thing. is I get everything in writing. So if they call me one day and
always reference number in writing.
Yeah, if they tell me the answer that I'm looking for, I'm like, okay, I'll wait while you get that, written down and
reference number.
It. Reference number, fax it. Go ahead and fax it so I have it in writing. And I definitely just said that. Well, I've met your match. So what do we want to do here? Do we want to keep, having this conversation? What do we want to do? I've dealt now too many insurances, like all of you, the rest of you, that I just don't play games.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them. They were going through a period. One of the payers said, "Oh, there's no pre-authorization for assessments," and so all my team was like, "Oh, there's no pre-auth." I said, "No. You're going to submit that auth anyway, and I'm getting that in a fax that says there's no pre-auth because that's getting attached to the billing." So that they don't come back and tell me that there's no, well, you didn't get an authorization for this code. I'm like, oh, no, that's not. And so that was frustrating for my clinical team. But that was also when I realized how much they need to be brought in. Both sides need to be like, yes, they're siloed. I totally agree. Yeah. But then how do they have to work together to understand so there's not frustration on the clinical team and the billing side's not getting frustrated because they're not getting what they need from clinical, and clinical's not getting frustrated because they don't understand this game, right? That's not their concern, their responsibility. So yeah. And the irony of all of that, within a year, they've now said everything needs a pre-auth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, see, this is why we get everything in writing, guys. Everything. Show me the data. Show me the data. That's just what I tell them. Show me the data. That's what we need. So,
absolutely. Everything in writing. All right. We're coming in at the end of our time. So I have one more question. I thought it might be a good one to end on for today. Would you rather sell your business and take a sabbatical, or stay in it forever but keep evolving your role?
Evolving my role into retirement?
I mean, and I think, if you look at, say, Alecia, right? Like, you right now you're wearing all the hats, right?
Yeah.
And we've been talking about how you might not want to wear all of your all the hats forever. Like you can't. We were saying now you really can't.
That's not sustainable, right?
Exactly. And so do you want to, some owners I talk to say that they want to have their hand in clinical. They want to actually be doing direct services of some sort. Like they want to be in the clinical forever. They don't ever want to lose touch of that. Some people say, yeah, no, I'm okay with kind of working my way out of that, being clinical director, then being maybe, director. And then I don't know, what's the last stage is you're just checking in, like the company's running itself and you're just kind of checking in occasionally to make sure things are doing great. And you're getting the paycheck. I know it's not as easy as that because there's still weight on your shoulders because you're still the owner, but you're not working the day to day, right? And maybe you're going off doing your own thing. Maybe you're starting another business. Maybe you're traveling. I don't know, right? That's kind of the thought of it's kind of where do you see yourself at the end of this? Because, Stephen always talks about plan for your exit strategy. And if you want an exit strategy, where do you see yourself? What are you working towards? So would you rather sell your business? And I think take a sabbatical is kind of a weird. Would you just rather sell your business and be done with it? Whenever you're done with it, just sell your business? Or do you want to stay in this business forever, but slowly work yourself out of a job within the business?
People ask me that question all the time because most people in ABA companies aren't around for 20 years. They're like, what the hell, Robin? What are you doing? And it's not that I don't have people every week that I get emails and calls for wanting to buy the business. It's I'm kind of what would I do with my life if I didn't have it? I think part of that's feeling a little lost in my purpose because this has always been my purpose. And I think I struggle with the idea of selling it to someone that's going to run it so much differently, or that might negatively impact the staff that we've got doing so well now, or be investor backed and have a completely different model and priority list than what we have now. But I think over time I might be open to growing the business to a substantial size over time. And then when I'm, I call myself old all the time, but I'm middle-aged. It is what it is. But I don't feel like I have to quit my job quite yet and have to pass the business off yet. I think eventually I will feel that way. Heck, maybe in 20 years. But I think if I grew the company substantially, that I think I could sell it and then like live off that, and retire, I'd be open to selling it, or just like Mallory said, just kind of keep it around and then kind of grow it over time and, phase myself out and retire and like let one of the BCBAs take things over. But I'm kind of like stuck in the middle, I understand all the reasons to sell. But I also, struggle with it, the idea of selling and giving up. It's not a control thing, but it's just more of like, this is my baby. This is what I started so long ago. And the idea of giving it up and doing something different or being in a different role or retiring, it just sounds weird and scary. And I don't know. I'm sure there's different things I could do. I've got talents, but I think the idea is just personally scary for me. And I don't want to risk the awesome people that we have, them hearing that we're going to sell and then them leaving or something. But
well, I think I made my choice. I mean, I did make my choice, right? I didn't sell. And I went back and forth, and Stephen and April were awesome.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I didn't sell, but Stephen and April were awesome, and just like listening to all of the random craziness as I was like figuring out what I wanted to do. Because one of my things too is that I didn't necessarily want to sell because I didn't feel like I take ownership, right, of my business and my clients that like, I'm there, I want to help and support, but they really aren't mine. Right. And so I just really kind of felt odd about being like, hey, I'm going to sell the business. I hope you guys all go with them, or I'm selling you guys over to this other company. And then also this idea of like, well, things, and who knows if this would have happened, but like things were great when Mallory was here, but when she sold, things really went downhill. So it was just better for me to work to find placement for all of my clients. And I was very fortunate that I was able to and pass on some of my employees to that same agency, and they are being well taken care of. And I felt positive about that. Yes, from a financial standpoint, a lot of people would say like, why didn't you sell? At the end of the day, it wasn't worth it to me to do all of that because I knew I was going to stay in the field, right? It's not that I lost any money on the business. I was making money the whole time, right? So that wasn't really a thing. So I did make my choice. So I guess I'm on a sabbatical. I don't think I'll go back to owning a business again, but I mean, you never say never, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I would just evolve my position. This is very similar to Robin, right? This is my baby. I chose to take this path. I chose to grow this and create this. And like it's like a second little family for me. So I wouldn't want to just like walk away from it, right? Or sell it to someone else. And I will always have some level of connection, right? However my involvement in the business would evolve, I would always have connection, whether that's, I love talking with the parents. I love, seeing the staff grow. So I'm always, part of my mission is to grow all of the people that connect to the business, right? So families, the clients, the staff, and even people in the community. Having that connection still will be important for me, however that looks in years to come.
It depends on the day.
Yesterday you could have taken it from me for $5, but yeah, I'm with you.
Monday through Friday, I'm selling.
Right. I love what I do.
Saturday and Sunday, I feel pretty good about it.
Right.
When the check cashes, it's not so bad.
Right?
I think I'm the opposite because right now I'm still working on admin stuff Saturday and Sunday. So that's where I get frustrated, right? So that takes away from my family, right? So I think I'm the opposite from you, Chris. Currently in my current state, it's like, okay, I can do this. Like, let's roll. Let's go. I'm on the boots are on the ground grinding, right? Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, I'm like, why am I sitting here in front of the computer?
I don't know. I think that when I started this company, I didn't start it with the idea of growing it to where I'm going to sell it. That was never my intention. I think that for me personally, I'm realizing my mortality and my shelf life. I mean, I'm not in my 30s. I'm not in my 20s. I just celebrated, I'm just be honest, I just celebrated 50 this year. So, yeah. So, I mean, like that's a lot of experience that, I would rather impart on people who want to learn and grow and help that way. I love what we do. I believe so much in this mission, so much in this mission. And I love so much these kids and the team, even when they drive me crazy, because I know I drive them crazy. So I feel like this is a really hard question. It kind of, like there are days I'm like, I will give you this company. Like I am done. And then there's days you couldn't offer me enough money for it. Like you can't offer me enough money to walk away from it. And like Robin, I mean, the M&A back, equity back, these are big. I mean, this is a big thing for them. I mean, I get calls all the time. Oh, da, 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 da. And I'm like, I was laughing the other day. I got something. Oh, you've been nominated as Dallas's #1 leadership woman of, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? What are your metrics on that? So, I think it's hilarious that they send those, but anyway, I don't know. I've thought a lot about that question since it came through. Cause I don't know what I would do. This is my purpose. This is what I was meant to do. So, I mean, I'm a mom. And so there is the allure of being able to step back more and be able to be with my daughter and raise her because, she's 11 and I'm sitting there thinking I've only got maybe 7 more summers with her or 7 more Christmases. And when you put it into terms like that, it's kind of sobering. You're like, oh, they're not going to stay little forever. They're not going to, And she's talking about going to Greece when she's 21 and it freaks me out. And I moved to Ireland at 20. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going with you to Greece.
I was going to say, you're going to pack your bags and you're going to go with her. That's
right. Exactly. So let's restructure that. My thought now, well, if I'm going to do that by the time she's 21, this is what I need to do with the company. But, I don't know. I agree with Chris. To me, it depends on the day. But also my big picture was I never went in it was solely to help as many kids as we could help and to bring in the next generation of clinicians to give back. That was always my goal. So I'm having to actually wrestle with that question more and more though, as I'm getting older. So, check back in 5 years. I don't know.
I'll share something personal that I think led to me being so gung-ho about keeping the business. So like over the last few years, I've been trying to get a divorce. I'm still not divorced, but I'm trying diligently and very hard. But one of the threats he was throwing around was he was going to try and force me to sell the company so he could get money from me that way. And the idea of, he absolutely did it because he knew it would hurt me and, all that. But I think that, it made me realize how much value I place on the company and what I do and what I've built. And, the idea of losing it is terrifying. And so I think the fact that I had such an emotional reaction to his threats of taking the company from me and, I did roll over. I'm paying him out so I can keep the company, which sucks. And he doesn't deserve it. But, I think at the end of the day, I think having my company and not having the cash in my bank account is more important to me, and building it back up to what it once was, I think is much more important to me than not having the company that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into over the last 20 years. So I think that's part of my answer.
Thank you for your vulnerability, everyone. Well, you guys know I closed my business. I also did not sell. There is a lot wrapped up into that decision. I didn't think Stephen had been trying to get me to close for a couple of years. And I said, nope, not doing it. And it's my baby. It's my thing. It's what I do. And what would I do without it? COVID rolled around and helped with that decision. And I was able to come to that decision on my own that I was ready to be done. And within our family, we were deciding to make an international move. And did I want to try to keep rolling with a company like from another country? I'm glad I did not choose that choice. That being said, as soon as when we closed and we moved and we got situated here, I was done with ABA. I was ready to be done. Like I wanted to find a different field. For a minute there, I was like, well, maybe I'll go be a speech therapist or something. I don't know. But the idea of going back to school was that kept me away from that decision. I thought, well, maybe I'll do parent coaching. Maybe I'll start a preschool here on the island. I don't know. I was trying to just think of anything but ABA. Didn't even tell people what I did when I met them. I was like, I just want to step away from ABA. I need a break from it. And so then Stephen had me, I needed to help Stephen. He was really growing 3 Pi Squared. There was a lot going on, and I couldn't not work, not do something because of just needing to help him and how much load there was. But also I was finding the most randomness of projects to keep myself busy, right? So I said, okay, fine. I'll help. How do you want me to help? I think one of the first things I did was hop on the podcast with him and started doing that. Because I think I started doing that before we moved. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. I don't mind this too much. And then I started sitting in consults with him and our Ask Me Anything events that we have, and really started to hear the stories of all of you guys and all of the business owners out there, whether they are thinking about starting, they're in the process of starting, they've been doing it for 10 years, they've been doing it for 20 years. I started to, really had just amazing opportunity to be able to connect with so many of you. And it reignited my passion for ABA. And, so that's what journey I took. And now I am completely deep and working all the hours, being, all the creative, all of the ideas and dreams. And if any of you guys know Stephen, he has his own basket of dreams and ideas, and he works at an insane speed. So here I am now kind of back in that, not a beginner, not a new business owner, because it's a little different feel, but wearing many hats and working a lot more hours. And I just had to come to terms with myself that I don't just help Stephen with it. I don't just work a few hours. I don't just help out a little anymore. I have a full-time job, working with 3 Pi Squared with Stephen and doing all the things, but I just love it. And I love all of the passionate business owners out there, all of you guys that are working your butts off to not only provide quality service for your learners, but also to support your staff. And so I'm like, okay, well, now I can't leave this field. So now I can't leave that. Now I'm going to be in 3 Pi Squared forever because I can't walk away from that, because you guys are also very special. So on that note, thank you, all of you panelists who participated today. I'm so thankful for your time and for your willingness to hop on and share. And I will say, I will open it up if anyone has any last remarks that they want to say as we close out today. Crickets? All right. We've had a lot to say. And I also want to thank you, panelists, for your patience as you dealt with my craziness of not pressing record. So I'm so happy that you stuck around and we were able to press record and we had an amazing conversation. And for those of you listening, I know you have a busy schedule. And so I really thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. So I hope everyone has an amazing rest of their day.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Hopefully it was helpful. If you would like to gain access to this entire video, and actually our entire library of videos, please join our ABA Business Leaders membership. You can find that at www.3pisquare.com.